Happy Thanksgiving, everybody! And today for Thanksgiving, I don't actually have a Team CS video for you guys or a Pug highlight video, and the reason is because my team is currently on break. Everybody's away for the holidays, so today I thought I would give you guys a knife tier list. As you guys can see here, we have the tier list as we already know. So knife tier list, pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna rank knives based on how I prefer to use them, whether or not I think that they're good, bad, whichever it may be. Let me go ahead and add another category here. It shouldn't take me too long. I don't know how to do this. Okay, perfect. So obviously S tier is reserved for my absolute favorite knives. A tier is a knife that I like using quite a bit. B tier is a knife that I would probably use most of the time. It's just going to be with a really nice skin, for example, like, a gem knife or marble fade knife, something like that. C tier is a knife that I probably would only use occasionally. Sometimes, you get those feelings where you're like, yeah, I really want to try this knife out. And then, that's kind of how you go. D tier is knives that I don't hate, but I just wish that they were cooler. Just knives that, I might have in my inventory every now and then, but most of the time I probably never use them. And then F tier is knives that I refuse to use. No matter what, like, I just can't stand those knives. I won't use them. And yeah, well, let's just get right into it. So first things first, we got the bayonet. Now, I honestly really like the OG bayonet. And the reason is because I actually have a lot of good memories with it. When I first started my YouTube channel and streaming, the bayonet black laminate was a skin that I had. And obviously, like, I associate the bayonet with a lot of feelings of nostalgia for the beginning of my channel and kind of, just how things were. And so I want to put it in the A tier. It's definitely not my favorite knife. I'm definitely not the biggest fan of it these days, but I still regard it highly because I still associate like that iconic pull-out animation with, a lot of good things, a lot of good events that I traveled to, good videos, just good times overall. So I really like the bayonet. It's definitely not a bad choice if you want to go with that. Next, we have the Bowie knife, and here's the thing. I'm going to go ahead and just slide that right into a D tier. The problem with the Bowie knife, and in my opinion, of course, is that the knife blade itself is just too big and it takes up too much space. I really want to like the Bowie knife. That's one of the things about it. It's like, I wish that it was cooler. I wish that maybe it was a tiny bit smaller. It has a lot of potential in my opinion, but I don't know. The other thing that really bothers me about this is that you can't see your left hand. So if you're into gloves, you just can't see your left glove, and I think that that's kind of a tragedy if you're a glove owner. So not really the biggest fan of the Bowie knife. Not the worst knife in the world. I mean, there's a world where I might buy a Bowie knife and use it, but I just, nah, not unless it's like a super cool Bowie. I don't think so. Next, we have the butterfly knife, and obviously the butterfly knife is iconic. Everybody knows that. I can't really say anything other than it's an S tier knife, and I think everybody, would agree with me. Butterfly, most iconic knife in CS:GO and CS2, in my opinion. Some people would argue otherwise, but I think it's the butterfly knife easily. I remember there was a time when all the best pros in the world were using the butterfly knife, and it was just like you associate that iconic with like greatness, good one taps, good op flicks. It feels good all around. I really enjoy the butterfly knife. I consistently have one in my inventory. Just really enjoy this knife. Nothing bad to say, just great. Now this is one that I'm not really sure how people are gonna feel. I just hate the classic knife. Now I never played 1.6, which some people are surprised to hear. I've only been playing for 5 years, so I never played 1.6 or Source or any of the previous versions of CS. So I don't really know. Like the classic knife, I wasn't around for that time. I just don't like it. I think it's terrible. I think it's boring. It has an idle animation where your guy just goes whoosh and smacks your other hand for no reason. It's not an inspect animation, so you can't even just hold it out and just hold it like, chilling. Your guy just goes whoosh, and that's just terrible. So I hate it. I think it's ugly. I don't like that the little like whatever that is on the blade covers up most of the patterns. I don't like it. That's just all I have to say about that. I will never use that. I can't. It's not for me. Next, we have the falchion knife, and I actually do like the falchion knife quite a bit more than I think the average person does. But with that being said, there is just a couple of things that I think are weird about it. The problem with the falchion knife is I just don't really like how your guy holds it. I don't know if that makes sense. I think it's a cool knife, but I don't like how your left hand is just like kinda off the screen. You can still see it. Like I don't know. I wish you guys held it a little bit different, but I really like the falchion pullout. I think the inspect animations are very nice. I think it's really cool. I'm gonna put it in C tier. Maybe leaning towards like higher C, bottom B tier, because I like to use it quite a bit, but I can't say I'd use it over some of the other knives that are still left in the list. But I generally don't have anything bad to say about the falchion. I don't know. I don't really have higher feelings towards it. Next, we got the flip knife. Now, I personally love the flip knife. It's a personal favorite of mine, and I don't like to just throw random knives into the S tier. However, With that being said, the flip knife is one of the most iconic knives, at least for me. When I think about opping in CSGO and CS2, I always imagine the whoosh after you hit the flick. You know, you hit a nice whoosh and then you whoosh. You know what I mean? I hope those sound effects help. But you whip out the flip knife, you hit the nice inspect, perfect inspect in my opinion, best inspect in the game. Especially when you have a really nice skin on the flip knife. Oh man, whew, it hits different. But yeah, the flip knife is really good. I mean, it just feels fantastic all around. It's a great knife. Generally, I really just enjoy the flip knife, and this is obviously personal preference, so I'm going to stick that in the S tier, and we're just going to move on. Okay, next we have the gut knife. Now, the thing is, the gut knife is a knife where it's like, it was my first ever knife, probably a lot of your guys' first knives as well, and the problem with the flip knife is, the gut knife is that I think it gets overhated. I generally think that the gut knife gets overhated. I particularly enjoy the gut knife, but with that being said, I would be lying if I said I would use it. So it's one of those knives where when I see people have one, I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. And then if I was like, am I going to buy one? Nah, I'm good. I don't want that. So I'm going to put it underneath the falchion knife. I do have good feelings towards the gut knife generally, but I can't use it. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. Now, for a while, I actually used to have a gut knife black laminate. And maybe I just like the black laminate skin so much, as you guys probably know, that it just makes any knife look good. But the gut knife black laminate, I'd still use it, even to this day. I would still use it if I had one. But yeah, I don't know. Gut knife, C tier. Moving on. Huntsman knife. Now, I hate the huntsman knife. Like, I'm not gonna lie. The thing is that the huntsman knife is one of those things where you either love it or you hate it, in my opinion. And for me, I think the huntsman's blade is too big, right? So I don't know. It has the same inspect and pull-out animation as the gut knife. So if you like the huntsman and don't like the gut knife because of the pull-out animation, you must be forgetting something. Um, I can't get behind the huntsman. I will say this, I put it above the Bowie knife, but generally I don't think you'd catch me using a huntsman. I don't really enjoy this knife. Hopefully that doesn't start up too much controversy in the comments. I feel like a lot of people don't like my tier list, but it is what it is. It is just my opinion at the end of the day. Whether you like to agree with it or not, I don't really care. All right, moving on. Honestly, like, can we even mention the Karambit without saying that it's honestly one of the best knives in the game? I don't think you can. And here's what I will say though. The Karambit, I want to put it really high, but the problem is that over the past couple of years, or if you watch my original tier list that I did on my main channel, I put the Karambit in S tier. But these days, I don't know if it's S tier. I know it's iconic. I know people love this knife, and it's just like, for me, right now, where I'm at with, everything and how I feel about CS, I don't think it's S tier. I'm gonna put it high A tier. Another reason is because I have a problem with something, okay? I don't like that if you don't play on native resolution. So for example, I play on 4:3, right? Since CS2 doesn't have bob settings, which doesn't really matter, but if you pull out the karambit and you start running, the blade will go off your screen. You can't see it at all. Now that obviously is just like, well, if you can't see it, don't buy it. Exactly. So I like the karambit, but I think right now I just it doesn't feel good that when you buy the karambit, you just can't see it. Like, I pull it out and it's just off the right of my screen, or I pull it out and I run and it's gone, and it's like, I want to look at my knife, bro. I don't, I don't know. So that's just me, though. You know, a lot of people are gonna say it's S tier. A lot of people are gonna say I'm an idiot. Just use native Austin if that's the problem. No. All right, moving on. M9 bayonet. Some people would say this is the best knife in the game, and I would say it's up there. It's definitely up there. I do have to admit that since the last time I made the tier list, I have changed my feelings on the M9 bayonet. It is a very nice knife. It's truly just one of the most satisfying things to pull out. You whip it out, whether you get a nice one tap, pull out the M9, so satisfying. I don't have a lot of bad things to say. Just really good. It doesn't really matter if it has a bad skin or not. The animation, the knife itself just kind of carries. It just kind of carries. I'm not gonna lie, it's very strong, and yeah. So we'll go ahead and put that in the A tier above the Karambit right now. Right now, this is important because this is a right now beginning a CS2 thing. Maybe things will change. I'll probably make another one every single year for the rest of the time because people love tier lists, but yeah, I don't know. It's a weird mixture here. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I don't know. These are my favorite knives in the game for sure, but I wanna put them in different orders just depending on when I look at it, but I'm pretty sure this is where we're staying for right now. Okay, next we have the Navaja knife. Now, some people are going to be mad about this, but I actually really like the Navaja. With that being said, I would be lying again if I said I would use it right now because there's other knives that I can use. But I don't think the Navaja is bad, and I will put it above the gut knife in C tier. And here's why. For a budget knife, I don't think it gets much better than this. You could get a gut knife with like a decent skin. You could get a falchion with a decent skin. Maybe even if you wanted, I don't know, stiletto, any of those knives, right? But the Navaja is incredibly cheap because people just don't like it for some reason, and I think it's really nice because it has a nice satisfying pull-out animation. Inspect is the same as the flip knife. Honestly, there's not a lot to dislike about it other than the blade is a little bit smaller than all the other knives, but I don't think that's a problem because some people like the stiletto as well, and it's got a small blade on it. I think that the Navaja is a very nice knife. The default one is very unique because it has a design on it. I really like the Navaja knife. I think it's a fantastic knife, great budget option. I used it a lot when I was really like just getting into skins. Navaja, pretty much a C tier knife, very average, but I like it a lot. All right, next we got the Nomad knife. Now, the thing is that the Nomad knife is going to be a clean B tier, and I'll tell you why. I would put it higher. I genuinely would put it higher. The problem is that when it comes to the Nomad, I don't like that rare pullout animation where your guy pulls it across the screen. I don't know. Okay. The thing about the Nomad is I would put it higher, but I don't really like the pull-out animation. I don't like that you pull out in front of your entire screen. I feel like it blocks a lot. Plus, then you get that random annoying animation where you hit your hand, and it's funny. Yeah, your guy cut himself. Cool. That's funny, I guess. But I don't know, dude. Like for me, I feel like it's kind of like I don't like how often it happens. I think it's a little distracting, and I don't want to buy a knife to get distracted by your guy going. It's just not for me. Um, I will use a Nomad depending on how I'm feeling. I think that it has a very clean design. I love the actual knife. It's fantastic. Inspecting the knife is always cool. But yeah, I mean, typically it's just that pull-out animation that I hate. I can't do it. It's not for me. And yeah, B tier though, because I have nothing else to say about it. I mean, I would definitely use it other than these knives, but unlucky. Next, we got the paracord knife. I really have nothing good to say about this knife. I don't even want to talk about it. Moving on. Next, we have the shadow daggers. Now, I remember a long time ago I had said that I love the shadow daggers because they're really unique, they're very cool. However, I don't like that whenever you pulled out the shadow daggers, it would shake your screen. And they actually did fix that in CS2. I was under the belief that once that got fixed, I would like the shadow daggers. I was wrong. So I don't actually like the shadow daggers because I thought that would fix it. I still think they're cool. I do, but I mean, I yeah, I don't think I would use them. It depends. Maybe a gem shadow daggers, maybe like rubies or sapphires, whichever, but yeah, anyway, next is the skeleton knife. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, okay? Here's my problem with the skeleton knife. I don't like this knife at all. I think it's gross. I feel like the animations did it dirty. There's the one cool animation with the skeleton where he flips it around his thumb and catches it. I think that's nice. I have nothing else to say about it though. I think the inspect is awkward. I think the other like default pull animation is a tragedy because it's just so boring. And also, I don't like the way the knife is shaped. I think it's just like there's a lot of missed opportunities. This game has a lot of cool knives. The karambit, you flick around your hand. The butterfly, you're doing cool tricks. The talon, of course, has the cool animation. And then the skeleton has the opportunity to do the same thing, but it just doesn't. Now, I know a lot of people really like the skeleton knife, and when I'm about to rank this, you guys are going to be disappointed. But I'm going to be completely honest. There is no world where I would use a skeleton knife. I don't like it. It also doesn't have the gems right now, no Dopplers on it, so maybe if the Dopplers come out, I might change my opinion on it. But as it stands, I don't like this knife. I'll put it below the Huntsman in D tier. I think in the last tier list I did, I put it in F tier, but I feel like that's not true. I think like it'd have to be a good skin on it for me to want to use it. Whereas the paracord and the classic knife, they can't be saved in my eyes. Yeah, skeleton knife, missed opportunity for me. I know a lot of people have strong feelings on it and think it's great, but not for me. All right, next we have the stiletto knife, and yeah, I mean, not a lot of things to say about the stiletto. One of the complaints that I do personally have with it is that I wish it was a little bit, thicker, the blade, but I understand it's just a stiletto knife. That's how they are. I like the pull-out animation. I think the inspect is cool. I think it's a little goofy, but I think it's cool. Um, Yeah, I would definitely put this in B tier. I'd probably use it around, above the falchion and all that, but probably not over any of the other knives. Pretty average knife in my opinion. Definitely just a knife. I don't have anything else to really say about it. Okay, we've got the survival knife up next. Now, here's one of the things about the survival knife. I would be willing to bet that the majority of you guys probably don't even know this knife exists because let's be completely honest. When's the last time you saw this knife in a game? I don't know because no pro uses it. I haven't seen anybody in my games use it in years. I think this knife sucks. I don't like it. I actually did use one. I was lent a Crimson Web, one of the best in the world, a Crimson Web survival knife, and I used it for a little bit. And yeah, I just didn't want it. I remember I actually unequipped it while I was borrowing it. I know that might be rude to some of you guys, but I just genuinely wasn't enjoying it. And the day it became tradable, I gave it back. I don't like the survival knife. I just don't. Sorry if you do enjoy it. I'm gonna put it in F tier. I don't really think there's a world where it comes back for me. I don't like the flipping it up and catching it. I think it's distracting. Same complaint with the Nomad. The blade is at least unique, but I don't think it's for me. And moving on anyway. Next we have the Talon knife. Now here's what I will say. I think the Talon knife is very cool. However, again, given the CS2 situation and the fact that I play on 4.3, I can't see my blade in this game. I just can't. In CSGO, I could turn off the bob and I could still see it whenever I would pull it out. Nah, I can't. And that's just how it is. So, with that being said, I still think it's a very nice knife. I'm going to put it in B tier. I don't really have a lot to say. I like the handle. I think the handle goes really well with some gloves. It kind of fucks up some combos here and there, though. I won't lie. But yeah, I think it's a nice knife. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I just personally am not enjoying it right now. Last but not least, we have the Ursus knife. Now, with the Ursus knife, I won't lie. I think it's a clean knife. I do like the inspect animation. It can be nice. Now, I actually have to say, I don't like the animation where you pull it up and catch it. Some people think that that one's cool. I've had a discussion recently with the Ursus with my Twitch chat, but they said that they like that animation. I said that's the one I don't like. I think it's distracting and I don't really enjoy that. Imagine you hit a really clean clip. You're Nico, right? And you hit a nice one tap, boom, and then you pull out your. I think that's stupid. Instead, you go for the one tap, boom, and then you pull out the knife, and he hits that nice animation. I know I sound like a nerd, and I am. Just bear with me. It's a nice knife. It's a very nice knife. However, here's the one thing I will say. I don't particularly, with this specific knife, enjoy that the handle can't be changed that much. I would like this knife if they had it in a black laminate finish. I don't know. Maybe a couple other of the knives are cool. But I'm not the biggest fan of this handle. I think it's kind of weird colored. There's only two other knives that have a handle that are like kind of this color. Maybe the Bowie, if you look, or they got knife. Um, or the stiletto. Okay, there's a handful of knives, but for me, that's what really gets me. I'm gonna put it in the B tier. I'll put it right here. I wish it was cooler. That's all I have to say. So there you have it. There's my knife tier list. You guys can come after me in the comments. Tell me why I'm stupid. Tell me why it should have been this and should have been that. And tell me why the paracord's your favorite and why I'm a moron. And that's good. I'll be waiting to hear from you guys. Thank you guys. Happy Thanksgiving again if you celebrate it. If not, hey, it is what it is. I'll be streaming tonight if you guys watch this the day it's uploaded. Or maybe not. Maybe you should come check. But yeah, team content will be back as soon as my boys get back from the holidays. So in the meantime, we're going to be doing some pug highlight stuff, some tier lists, just stuff to fill the time, fill in the gaps, and that's about it for now. So I appreciate you guys for coming out. Much love if you guys watch to the end, and make sure you guys subscribe. Yeah, that's pretty much it though. I'm out of here. Gang.